To start this off, I want to say you need to find the right mouse for you. Everyone is different, from hand shape and size to grip style and where you even hold the mice. That said, I don't like this shape. Finalmouse know I don't like this shape, and they sent me the classic Ergo 2 anyway, because they know a lot of people do like this shape. So if it's right for you, then don't let my opinion sway you, just focus on the performance instead. Quickly looking at the materials, it's a matte finish on top, which is smooth and kind of slippery, but that's okay because the right side is glossy and seems to grip nicely, while the left side is similar but has a matte finish where the thumb goes. Now let's talk about this shape. The biggest issue for me is on the right side. It has this big ledge on the end. If I hold the mouse as I normally do, I'd have to have my hand on an angle to get underneath it comfortably, otherwise I don't feel like I have enough room for my little finger. Considering this is a large mouse, my hand should have plenty of room, but it doesn't. It's forcing my fingers into position, and that position is awkward. So when I use this mouse, I end up moving my ring finger above the ledge. That means I'm mostly holding the mouse with my little finger and thumb. And that brings us to the intended grip on this mouse. For people who like to have 3 fingers on top, so the ring finger on the right mouse button, this design is actually quite comfortable, but I still wouldn't call it a safe design because it is forcing your fingers into position. Some swear by it, others don't. This is a personal preference thing. On the left, there's a deep thumb groove with a big ledge. Again, not my style, and for some reason it feels easy to tilt toward the left. I don't know why, but I don't feel like this shape is well balanced. The top is good enough, and it has some decent comfort grooves in the buttons. Here it is next to some other mice, so you know the basic size of it. I'd call it a large mouse. The main measurements are about 6.1 centimeters at the fingers, that's the grip width. The length is about 12.1, and it's roughly 4.1 high. From the side, the hump is actually more toward the front, with gradual slopes both ways. In palm grip, I'd say it could be comfortable for people with hands under 19.5 centimeters. Claw grip up to 21, as long as you don't need to rest your palm on the back of the mouse too much, and fingertip grip above 17 centimeters. Ideally though, for comfort and aim, I think it's suited to hands around 20 by 10. In-game, checking the implementation of the 3360 optical sensor, it performs extremely well, no problem rocket jumping, and I can't make it spin out, moving it as fast as I can, even with the tilt slam test. Zooming in, it tracks pixel by pixel and it does it smoothly. I can't find any acceleration or delay, and the lift-off distance is just under a DVD on cloth and hard pads, and confirming the performance in the line tests, it all looks good when compared with the G703. One problem shown in game though is with the buttons. For the sake of the test, mouse 5 is set to fire, mouse 4 is set to strafe left. Notice I stop moving as soon as I press mouse 5, so at the moment it has a ghosting issue. This is a known fault and should be fixed shortly after this review is published. Speaking of buttons, here is a listen to the clicks to check quality and sound. In a way, left and right feel kind of hollow. They don't have a quick snap to them, but they are fairly light. Mouse 3 is really low, and has more tension to click in as usual, so I don't know what people who use the 3-finger grip are going to want there. And the wheel is really smooth, but still has some tension on the steps. It's there, but not overly so. It actually feels soft too. Despite the sharp angles on the side buttons, they do feel good. Decent amount of travel, nice click without feeling cheap. And the DPI button is out of the way on top, no accidental clicks. In the latency testing, they perform just as well as the G703, nothing in it. So I'd say all good there, other than the ghosting issue, which should be fixed. A redeeming factor is the weight, because even with large dimensions, it's only 85 grams, and weight-wise it does feel fairly well balanced. Despite the low weight, it feels fairly solid too. The only rattle seems to be the cable and the mouse wheel being a tiny bit loose. Sometimes the side buttons could be loose too, so quality control still a bit questionable, but nothing too major. Where it is let down is the cable quality. While it's braided, it is a bit rough and not very flexible, as you can see by me pushing it back like this. It has 4 mouse feet and some were apparently not positioned properly, so if you get any scratching, that's probably what it is. Apparently it corrects itself over time, but might be something you need to look at. Both of my copies do seem fine though. No software for this one, just the usual DPI steps of 400, 800, 1600 and 3200. No lights either, they've gone with some text instead of a logo. I don't have a test to really show the difference between 500 and 1000 Hz. The default is 500, but you can get a tool to make it 1000 from their website. To conclude, people have been asking me about quality concerns, and so far, other than a few minor things, it seems fine. It performed well in all my games. The only thing I didn't really like was the shape, but we know that already. Again, it's personal preference. If you like this shape, then this could be the mouse for you. I actually use these a fair bit, and as you can see by this gameplay, I felt I could aim it fairly well, especially considering the size. But because of the shape, I'm not going to put it in the top 20. It seems like too much of a niche mouse, which means it's for people who like this shape, but not many others. So if you do like this mouse, it could be your number one. Don't let the rank deter you. And something new, I've now got a Finalmouse affiliate link, so if you're buying directly from there, you can use that and help support the channel. I'll leave the usual links in the description as well. So special thanks to Finalmouse for sending these out for review, and as always, subscribe, like and share this video, and I'll catch you in the next.